The big news of the day, in fact, Mathieu van der Poel arrested. So maybe, Benji, could you run us through the timeline and chronology of what happened in this frankly bizarre story?
Sports are reported that a 27-year-old, likely Van der Poel, was taken into police custody overnight. This means in Australian night, so significantly before the European night. Then reports by Saivo Shi of Velo News confirmed that Mathieu Van der Poel was indeed the person involved, that he was involved in an altercation with two teenagers who had been knocking on his hotel room on Saturday evening, the night into Sunday, the day of the World Championships. So basically, that's what we know at that point. According to Rothoft, taken to the police station at midnight and was only back at 4 a.m. So his night before the World Championships completely ruined, and reportedly charged with 2 counts of common assault. I don't know what that means. Perhaps you might know that. And I also read that his passport is confiscated and he needs to appear in court in 2 days in Australia. So that's not ideal. And it had a consequence on the race, of course, because 30 kilometers into the race, he abandoned. And let's be honest about it, it's very likely as a consequence of what happened overnight.
In case you haven't seen, Zwift are trying to change, or will change, the trainer market. They're bringing out the Zwift Hub, which is the most affordably priced trainer of its quality, I believe, hitting the market on sale from the 3rd of October, making indoor training cheaper and easier to set up than any other trainer on the market. It comes with a cassette of your choice, 8 to 12 speeds, Shimano, SRAM, or Campac. There's videos on how to set it up on Zwift's YouTube channel, and even helpful stickers on the trainer to set it up with your bike. So if you want to find more about Zwift, head to zwift.com and check out the new trainer, or sign up for a free 7-day trial if you already have one. It's not just the sleep aspect of it. Like, of course, even without sleep, MVDP can make it further than 25 Ks into this race. But imagine the stress and what's going on. First, the actual event, and then getting arrested out of nowhere, probably from his perspective. So we don't know what's happened exactly. It's still like there's no video of it, at least not that has seen public eye. It's a he said, she said. Van der Poel says he didn't. I believe he said he didn't touch them and push them, and they said he did. He just said he asked them not so nicely to stop knocking on his door. And what's bizarre about this is, like, in case you don't know, the Worlds are in Wollongong, which is a separate place to Sydney. His hotel is next to the airport in Sydney, in Brighton Le Sands, which is not even in the Shire, Sutherland Shire, which is like the deep south of Sydney. It's in Brighton Le Sands, like an hour from Wollongong. So, also, as the majority of our listeners are not Australian, so to explain to you, like, cyclists are not probably not treated the same way as maybe MVDP would be treated in the Netherlands. Like, you may be a top tier athlete there, but in Australia, you know, you're just another cyclist on the road. I think Wout and Sturven have said something similar about their experience on the road here in Australia, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's bizarre. The first thing, they're in a random hotel in Brighton Le Sands, like not even near Wollongong. And yeah, just the fact that MVDP is going to be in the Sutherland Shire, in the Shire court, like anyone else on a Saturday night, sort of getting called up for assault on Tuesday, he's going to be in the court, which is bizarre. My wife grew up in the Shire in early years. So, yeah, just so bizarre. Again, we don't know exactly what happened. I would say, like, yeah, I can understand from his perspective. It's like facing the biggest event of your life tomorrow, and you're getting woken up. And it just seems like a lot of people have handled it the wrong way. He has people knocking on his door, shouldn't be doing that. The hotel, maybe the police. Just not a great situation that seems to have escalated out of nothing.
In general, every single time you mention the Shire, I'm thinking about hobbits in the Lord of the Rings, but I'll take it as a Belgian here as well. Nonetheless, when it comes to Van der Poel, it's definitely not an ideal situation going into the race, and it showed off during the race. And obviously, it has its effects as well, you know. First of all, when it comes to like hotel management and so forth, I think that's done by the Dutch Federation. So perhaps bad management could have been the reason that he ended up in a hotel like that. I don't know that. We don't know the specific reasons behind the scenes, but I think it's been mentioned a few times across Dutch media that that is a potential reason that he was in a corridor with other people that were having lots of noise and so forth and being annoying and so forth. But next to that, there's also I think he spent like was it 20K or something on his plane towards Australia and to then end up in a hotel that is very meh from what I can hear. It's like so counterproductive for your riders as well. And I don't know, would it have been better if he flew economy and then had a better hotel instead?
I wouldn't recommend the economy flight, having just done it, especially if you need to use your legs afterwards. I don't really need to use mine too much. I just use my mouth. Um, I don't know. It's bizarre. Like when I heard the hotel was in Brighton Sands, not like I'm not saying necessarily like it's a terrible hotel. I mean, it's just not in Wollongong. Like at least a hotel in Wollongong would be aware. Okay, these athletes should be on a certain floor or whatever, or be aware at least that you got a top favorite for the World Championships. Ultimately, um, it's a bit embarrassing, I would say, for Australia and Wollongong having a top favourite essentially harassed and then arrested. Now, of course, it sounds like he's overreacted, and maybe he will get found guilty as well. So he's obviously, again, on the other side, like we joke about Brandon Rivera, about Uri Sagan, but like roommates like that actually they make a difference to the top stars' lives and can help avoid these situations as well. So big shame for the race. How it changed the race, I think Netherlands basically had a free roll with no top leader. They had no one really to ride for. Encorn got some freedom, and it meant there was just one less team willing, I think, to chase Belgium's moves or France moves. They were just getting in them.
Yeah, and I think that it also just basically makes it that they want to go earlier in the race. Like you mentioned, there's more free rolls. Like an Incorn can have a free roll. Van Baal is probably having the same. A Wout Poels, a Mollema trying to go for their own chances, trying to get into moves quite a bit, and we saw that in this race as well, basically, as the Dutch team was doing exactly that in today's race. So Van der Poel's leaving of the race certainly had his effect on this race when it comes to the tactics of the Dutch team.